I've been out on YouTube a lot more lately. It's one of those platforms that I've been trying to learn. The older that I get, the more that I am finding that to be a lifelong learner, you have to put yourself in situations where they may not necessarily be comfortable for you. And being on camera, speaking to camera is not necessarily something that I love to do, but it's something that I'm learning to do because I know that this is how I'm going to continually grow and really get my message about what's possible for women in our 40s, 50s, and 60s out there. So, as I have been on YouTube and I've been kind of looking around and really trying to understand what people are looking for, I have noticed that I am seeing a lot more people who are in their 40s and 50s and their 60s who are turning to YouTube as the platform of choice, and it is blowing my mind. It is blowing my mind. Number one, because people are having so much success on YouTube. It is wild. And it's really encouraging to me because I know there are other people like me who are doing the same thing. So I have a lot of examples of people who are having success. And as I like to say, if you can see it, you can be it. So I love being able to go out on YouTube and see people that are having success. Now, on the flip side, there are people who are on YouTube who are in their 40s, 50s, and 60s who are not having a lot of success. As a matter of fact, I saw something on YouTube the other day, and it was a comment that stopped me in my tracks because this person identified themselves as being a 50-year-old who had just been fired from their job. And they described how they felt like the last year for them had just been this perpetual state of depression because of what happened to them at their job. They were finished with corporate America. They felt shame at having been let go from their job. They felt embarrassment and they felt like a failure. Now, it stopped me in my tracks because this is not something that I am unfamiliar with. Not a lot of people know this, but I know how traumatic it is to lose a job, especially when you are in midlife. It is trauma. In my family, we've been through this. I want to say 3 years, three times in the last 10 years. And it's not something that we really talk about a lot, but it has happened in my family where you think you are in this position, you're with this company, and you're secure, you're safe, you're secure. And then all of a sudden, it's not so safe and secure anymore. And so you're in this position of having to figure it out at this big age. What am I going to do? So I know the trauma that comes with losing a job that you either wanted or you felt like this was the thing that was going to get you to that retirement age. So I get it. I so identified with that comment because been there, done that. And the one thing that I would say to this person is, failure is really just a construct that society has put on us as individuals. And I don't know that I really subscribe to a concept of failure more than I subscribe to a concept of this being feedback. Because no matter how traumatic it is to lose a job at 40, 50, 60 years old, you lose a job when you don't anticipate losing a job, there is a lesson. in everything that happens. And the one thing that I learned is that no matter what happens to you, no matter what the change is constant. It's going to happen. And once you can wrap your arms around that fact, wrap your arms around the fact that change is going to come, change is cyclical, change is always happening, then I'm not saying that it makes it easier, but it certainly puts things into perspective. And so once you have that kind of perspective, I feel like you have the tools that you need to see your way clear. Sometimes we get into this stage where you have hit a wall, you have hit a hard stop. Somebody says to you, hey, thanks for your services. There's a door. And it feels like it's a hard stop. But what I have learned over the years is that it is actually a new beginning. And I've gotten to this place where I can now feel thankful for that. It wasn't the case when it happened. I wasn't thankful for that because it made me have to figure out some things that we hadn't contemplated before. It put us in a position of really having to get creative and really having to get brave and really having to just do things that feel uncomfortable. When your back is up against the wall, you will do things that you never thought you could do. And the reason that I say that it's a new beginning is because your back was against the wall and you just did something that you didn't know you could do. So to me, that's being able to put that new skill in your pocket and go to the next thing. Because if you had sat in that role and you had sat in that position, then you would have never known that you could do this new thing that you could do. So every time something comes along and it feels like a stop, it feels like something that has happened to you that, you feel depressed about, you feel shame about, you feel embarrassed about, I want you to also think about the things that you would have never been able to do had this thing not happened to you. Because again, it's not failure, it's feedback. You're learning as you go. And now that you know this new thing, now that you have this new skill, you can plan based on what you've learned. And so I think that it's helpful to have perspective. And that is something that I'm going into 2025 with, is just this idea of just having perspective about everything that's coming, everything that's been, because there is no future without the past, right? You wouldn't be where you are if you weren't who you were then. So everything's for a reason. And like I tell my daughter, nothing is for nothing. I know it may feel hard for you right now. I know it may feel terrible. I know you may feel embarrassed. I know you may feel angry right now, but nothing is for nothing. It's all in God's plan. And so I want you to have perspective around that and know that this is a season and the seasons do change. You may be in your winter season. This is just your time to rest and figure it out. But know this, the change is constant and it's happening. Know that, wrap your arms around it, understand it, embrace it, and move on. This too shall pass.